I'm just gonna keep talking because this is what I do. This is how I process things. This is how I am managing the fucking wild experience that is being a vibrational, energetic, pure conscious being, having the human experience. And I had a place I wanted to start, and you know, I'm just gonna ramble, so. And I'm gonna eat my breakfast, and I'm gonna talk with my mouth full. That's just what's happening. It feels to ego, it feels to the mind that it's so much safer to be alone. And I'm recognizing more and more that that is a part of an identity that formed in very early childhood for me, at least in this lifetime. That's my awareness of it. Ego is the protective aspect. Its purpose, really, especially initially, is to keep the body alive. And at the point in which it develops in a child, you probably wouldn't think of it as ego or call it ego, because it's not this complex thing that has all of these judgments attached to it. But just using the word, that's the word that feels appropriate to me. It is the same thing. It becomes more complicated. It gains more layers as it grows. But at the most core level of its existence, it's just there. It's like the artificial intelligence of the body. The body has actual intelligence, but this is the artificial intelligence. And it's here for a reason. It's here to keep the body alive, because if the body is not kept alive, we are not able to experience very much. And we're here to experience things. We're here to be. We're here to grow. We're here to reach this place where the evolution of consciousness has become such that we are now aware of what's happening, aware of the grand scheme of things, that we are, in fact, pure consciousness. That this is all a sort of mirage in some sense. It's as tangible as it gets. It's as physical as it gets. And if you define real in those terms, then it's as real as it gets. But it is not actually the base reality. It's being informed from above in much the same way that a video game is created within the broader reality and is informed by, has to adhere to the framework of that broader reality. But we get to bend it a little bit. We get to imagine, what would it be like if certain things didn't apply? That's a tangent. Shocking. The dream of this reality is, what would it be like if we didn't know connectedness all of the time? Because that's what it is. That's what it is at the highest level. We are acutely aware of everything. We know everything all of the time. We know our connection. We know our infinity. We know love. So what if we didn't? That's the dream. That's the imagined projection that we're in. Because by our imagining the opposite, by imagining not knowing these things, we actually come to know them better. We come to understand them more clearly. Our experience of them becomes bigger. It's so hard to describe. We become more acutely aware of the dimensions of infinity. right? And endlessness and eternal connection, what that actually means, what that actually feels like. We know that more because of our imagining what it would be like not to have it. So all of this is imagined, and yet at the same time, it's very real. But I am musing upon, because I am very interested in the blending of spirituality and psychology, which I've shit on a little bit here and there, lovingly. They are the same thing, in essence. The ology, the structure, the study of the structure, the makeup of the psyche, which is not the mind, it is consciousness. That's what that is. So it is the study of consciousness in the same way that spirituality is living spirit first, consciousness first. And maybe even theosophy is a more appropriate term. There are all these words, all of these words, all pointing to the same thing. We're all having the same experience. Everything is spiritual. Everything. This is a spiritual experience. Every part of it is spiritual. There is nothing that is more or less so. It is as spiritual to dig a hole as it is to light incense in a temple. It's as spiritual to be here eating toast with peanut butter as it is to make ritual offering. It's the same thing. This is my offering. All of non-physical, all of myself is sharing in this experience with me. All of it is eating toast right now and going, yum. This is not what I expected to talk about. And I'm very pleased in it. But I had become aware, more and more aware. I was already aware, but it's becoming more clear. The way that things like attachment styles in psychology, that would be the description, are related to and born from the early experiences of the ego, which is all that is really driving the body in the beginning. Consciousness is limited. There's awareness, but there's not a lot of power there because we are aware. We're in this sort of physically helpless state. As a child, we are dependent upon others for our physical well-being. And so everything is geared towards that. We are in this sort of survival state. And ego has no concept of this being an illusion. Even if it did, at that point, I mean, it's still designed to just keep the form alive. So, of course, it's going to do everything it can to achieve that goal. And if it senses that there is some change in the environment that brings that into threat, because again, ego is always looking for a threat. It's looking for a threat to the physical form, which it later transitions into because it's formed this identity based around looking for threats. Now it's looking for threats everywhere. And anything that could be a threat to ego by its perception feels like a threat to the physical form, whether it actually is or isn't. But we learn certain defense mechanisms. And this is where it gets all screwy. When the very caretakers, the individuals that we are expecting to naturally form attachments to, feel safe and secure with, feel that our well-being is provided for by these individuals, become also the source of a threat. When that is called into question, when they're both what we rely upon for survival and what represents the potential end of our survival at the same time. So we get balled up in this state of tension. And for me, that translates to this identity, which has deep roots in the nervous system. It's an identity because it's formed from thoughts. Those thoughts, when received, they inject into the body. The body receives them and responds to them as factual reality, as if this were actually happening one way or another. And if the thought is, I am not safe, the body responds to that thought the way that it would if a lion were attacking a gazelle. If you were being attacked by a lion, your body responds the same way as to that thought, especially that very early thought of, I am not safe. And so it learns to shut down. Or respond with anxiety or anger, all of the parasympathetic responses, and sympathetic, and the whole thing. Nervous system. I'm just seeing more how I've had issues with the vasovagal system in my lifetime. There was a period of time where I passed out a lot. And I'm realizing now my body was in such a chronic state of stress that it was ready at any moment to die, essentially. It was perceiving that at any moment that stress could tip over to the point where I'm not going to survive this. Fight or flight becomes useless. If there is any chance, it lies in death, essentially, in the feigning of death. Shutting down, just gone. And then maybe either the thing attacking me loses interest, right? And I have a chance to then get away, or I'm killed anyway, but the numbness takes over. I have been numbed. My body has been numbed because it knows that it's about to face destruction. Whew. And that is the state that I was living in for a substantial period of time. And I'm really fucking grateful to have any amount of emotion experienced as a response to that. Because that is not the way that it should be. And that's not the way that I want it to be. And so it was developed from the beginning, this identity that just is formed really around the thought of we can't trust anyone. It's not safe. We can't trust anyone. We can't rely on anyone. The only place it's safe is alone. Not only can we not trust others, but they are a direct threat to our safety. That was the core thought. That was the identity that formed, that has these deep roots into the body, because again, those thoughts trigger a bodily reaction. And so the result of that might be termed something like anxious-avoidant attachment, or maybe disorganized, but I probably anxious-avoidant fits. It is in this continuous state of desiring the security, but at the same time afraid of it. And so I am perceiving that as an identity, as an aspect of self that formed at an early age, before there was greater awareness, before there was consciousness, in an attempt to keep my physical form functioning, so that I could reach this place right now of expanded awareness and start teaching myself something different. And the way I'm doing that is by paying attention, is by noticing the thoughts. Or if I don't catch the thought, maybe it's too fast. Some of them are just a flash. They're hardly even verbal. And it becomes a sensation almost immediately. And then it's just paying attention to when the sensation arises and not running from it. Staying with it, staying in it as much as I possibly can. And telling myself, at least, that it is safe to feel this. Because again, I gotta start somewhere with teaching myself that it's safe to exist. My existence is safe. It's secure. And it is especially important, I feel, to practice this with another. And not just others, but an other. Because then there's desire. And there's the whole topic of desire. Strong desire. Desire can't be quenched, it can't be killed, it can't be snuffed out. Once you have a desire, it's there. It's there. It's there because that thing is already yours. And it doesn't stop being yours. So the desire doesn't stop being yours either. A strong desire for a soul connection with others and with an other specifically. And that desire appears, it's the truth, but it appears as a threat to the egoic identity that says, no, 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 we're only safe alone. The desire is connection. The desire is a shared experience. The desire is to share this life experience with a partner. More than that, it's got so much detail. I mean, the emotional detail of it is exquisite. The desire to unite with the other of myself. I don't want to say the rest of myself, because the soul is complete, but at the same time, it's formed with another. The other of itself, the mirror, the reflection. That is the desire, that's the drive. That is wanted. And it's wanted because it's mine. And so ego sees that and goes, ah, it's not safe. It's not safe to have that desire. It's certainly not safe for it to be fulfilled. And it is. So all of that, the victory, the reception of what is rightfully asked, rightfully desired, rightfully given, to ego, is a fucking nightmare. It's the end of the world to ego. To this identity, that is. Because it goes against everything this identity was formed around. The ground is crumbling away from beneath it, and it's freaking the fuck out. It's freaking the fuck out, and it's causing freak out in the body, because that's how it works. That's what it's done. And I get to sit here and watch it. Just watch it. Just see it. Accept it. Love it. Appreciate it. For what it was trying to do. It didn't have all the information. It couldn't possibly have had all the information. It was operating on pretty bogus information, but it was doing its best to keep me alive, to get me here, and it did it. It did that, in fact. Success. So I can't even be mad at it. How could I be? Why would I be? It did exactly what it was designed to do. Exactly what it set out to do. Now we have more information. Now we know more. We know more things. We understand more things. We understand those things because we were kept alive to get to this point, to explore, to bump around, to fuck around, to mix things up, to find it out. Now we know that it's safe. It's okay. That we're safe to have this desire. That we're safe for this desire to be fulfilled. That all desire is safe and right. And all of it is, in fact, followed through on. The universe doesn't just put a desire in you that can't be fulfilled. It's there because not only does the framework for it exist, it exists in full form, fully manifested, in fruition. It exists. That's what that desire is evidence of. The existence of its fulfillment. And not just that, again, that it is yours. You dreamed that into being. You created that. That's you. That's your baby. That's an extension of yourself. That desire is an extension of yourself, of your creative life energy. It's yours. It is you. It's more of you. It can't not be you. It belongs to you the same way that your arm does. This can't be anybody else's. I mean, I'm not going to get into organ transplants and that shit here, but you get the idea. You get the idea. It was grown from you. It's your DNA. It's your genetics, your energetic genetics. Energenetics. I'm sure that's somebody's coined that term already. And it's yours. It's directly connected to you, too. I might be out of things to say now. Just musing on this shit because it's interesting. Because it is my experience. It is my life. Who else is going to talk about this? This is me. This is my life experience. Nobody else knows this but me. Nobody else endeavors to know it better but me. I choose to know myself. Anyway. Oh, I got chocolate on you. I'm sorry. Yeah, so everything that's happening is in direct conflict with the oldest identity that formed within this incarnation, at least. And that identity has deep connections in the body. And it's stored a lot of shit there. It's got a lot of things built up there. There's a lot of baggage. Stuff that's shoved away in corners, boxed up. Put the lid on and try to just forget about. There's some weird old moldy stuff at the back of the fridge. And nobody's really even sure who put that there or when that got there. Did you put that there? No, it wasn't me. It's there, one way or the other. It's gonna get unearthed. All kinds of stuff that I was not aware of is gonna get unearthed. Is being unearthed. And not just alone, but in full view of somebody that I just fucking adore. It's all gonna be out there. And there's only gonna be more of it. And again, that core identity of ego goes, this is terrifically unsafe. This is dangerous. This is panic-inducing. This is a direct threat to your existence. That's the way it perceives it. And now I get to say, no, it's not. It's not. It's okay. It is all really actually okay. And whatever you feel and whatever you experience, that's allowed. It's not wrong. It's allowed. All of this is allowed. I get to teach myself that I am safe to exist and to simply be exactly as I am. There's nothing to fix because there's nothing broken. There's just what is. There's just what is. This is all just what is. It's not good, it's not bad. In fact, at the highest level, it's all good. It's all good. So I'm incredibly grateful for this. And one other interesting tidbit is I knew that this would absolutely, trigger just everything to come to the surface. I knew, and that's a big part of why I ran from it Because that identity, trying to keep me safe, said, nope, this is a whole fucking pile of nope. So dangerous. Because we're going to feel all of this stuff. And so it did a really good job of trying to keep me from seeing it, from acknowledging it, from all kinds of things. Just kept pushing it out because it wasn't safe. I wasn't allowed to feel that. And of course, again, none of that is true. And I'm grateful that the power of desire is such that it just flows around resistance. The resistance can't stop it. Your resistance to your desire cannot stop your desire. It can't stop it from being, it can't stop it from reaching you. What you want wants you, and it gets there. It gets to you. One way or another, it does. It can't be kept away, and you can't be kept from it. You can't miss each other. You are given. Given to one another. That's divine justice. You're brought together. You are these married components, especially in the scenario of calling in a counterpart energy. Calling in your counterpart. That is your energy. That is the other part of you. That is the greatest union, the greatest merger that the universe can conceive of. It wants that. Everything wants that. And what everything wants happens. There's no stopping that. That's what makes it divine. That's what makes it destined, written in the stars, because everything is aligned. Everything agrees. Yep, this. We all want this. Everything that is wants this. This wants it, this wants it. They want each other. Boom. There's nothing that stops it. Certainly not ego. Certainly not pain body or shadow or whatever you want to call it. Not even the oldest, biggest, nastiest egoic identity. Doesn't stop it. Does not stop it. It's time for all that to be unwound. Oh, but the thing I was going to say is, I found out recently, having met a very interesting individual, pair of individuals who are friends of the wonderful person that I am with. Fascinating theory regarding to elements and how individuals mirror the expressions of certain elements correlated to birthday, things like that. Really interesting. I am carbon. I'm everywhere and I get along with everybody. This is true. I'm very neutral, absolutely neutral. And there's all these kind of words I want to use that I'm just gonna say the person that I'm seeing. There's all kinds of words in here. Is sodium, and so together we make sodium carbonate, essentially. And there's different versions of that, but it's a cleansing agent. It has a cleansing effect. It can be a sort of inert substance on its own. It doesn't. There's no caustic effect to it, but I mean, sodium bicarbonate is like baking soda. It bubbles. It's cleansing, and so it brings things to the surface. That's what the feeling of this is that, yes, this is a really cleansing connection. Our effect on each other is energetically cleansing. It's purifying. We are mutually purifying one another's energy. That's the effect. And what that means is bringing all the stuff to the surface. It's like a crucible. And, everything that's clogged up is being unclogged and lifted into the light where we can see it. and just sort of scoop it off the surface. I just find that very interesting. And it's been the nature of our relationship from the beginning. That's what we do for each other. We've always done that from the moment we met, was encouraging one another into these deeper levels of self-reflection, showing each other things, offering each other new perspectives that are just helping us slough off the things that aren't really us. It's just helping loosen and reveal, oh, this little clogged piece here that I knew there was something there, but I couldn't quite get to it, and you helped me just pop it loose, and now I can kind of let that go. And even if there's more stuff in that area, well, now it's all free to come up. There was a clog right there that was keeping all of the other stuff from coming up. Now that's free to move and shift and all of that. And that's what we've done for each other this whole time. And that's what we do, is just help cleanse and restore one another to our natural selves, our natural, vital, soulful, authentic being. And that's really cool. And I really love that. And that is exactly, I mean, that's just the mirror of my fucking energy right there. But again, it's a mirror that's not the exact, it's a compatible component. It's these things work together towards the same end. They both have the same desire, the same sort of goal, and they work together in this beautiful dance where it's just, yeah, you got this piece that I want, and I got this piece that you want, and we just keep sort of handing it off to each other, and it's this endless, wonderful flow that is so delicious and satisfying and just delightful. Anyway, I'm gonna finish my breakfast now. That was a fun little ramble through the countryside. What an interesting thing it is to be. Endlessly fascinating. And I'm so grateful to be on this journey and grateful for you. Whoever you are, even if there's nobody there, I'm still grateful. I am. Your being is exquisite, exactly as it is. It is just right, just formed so perfectly and uniquely. There is not one other who can be you. Not a single other. So be you. And you know what? You're killing it. So don't even question it. Just keep doing what you're doing. Have a fabulous day. I love you.